The atrocities that are being committed in this state of Victoria by Daniel Andrews, the Premier, that is the elected leader, certainly not by me, but by the elected leader of the people, even though he only got in by 33%, the primary vote, and the rest of it was by preferentials and maybe some other skullduggery, who knows? God knows. But I just watched something there that I feel like the scales have tipped, and I feel like it's like I don't know who I'm talking to, but I feel like to speak into the atmosphere and talk to Premier Daniel Andrews, the elected president of this state of Victoria in Australia, is that you think that you're above the law, that you just disregard the laws, the very laws that the people voted in, that you think you're completely above the law, but there's one law that you're not above, and it's God himself, the God of the creation. Whether you acknowledge him, whether you believe in him, is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. But I feel that in the spiritual realm, you've given him the bird one more time. And I'm not going to use the expression, but most people understand with the finger, not this finger, but the index finger, that you've given God you've just given him the bird one last time, that the tipping scales are against you. And there's a great Bible verse. I don't know whether you've ever read the Bible or whatever, or disregard it. Certainly, behavior tells me otherwise. But just in case you don't know, there's a Bible verse that is in Matthew 7:1, and it applies to me as I say this to you, Daniel Andrews, but it applies to everyone on earth. And it's Matthew 7:1 and 2. And it says this: do not judge others, and you will not be judged, for you will be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged. This is your benchmark, Premier Daniel Andrews. This is the benchmark that you'll be measured by. And I have a feeling that you're being weighed in the heavenlies. Now, you can be arrogant and do whatever you want, but I tell you what, don't pick on God himself, and especially with what's coming in the coming days. Great glory is coming, but great judgment is coming. And Matthew 7:1 and 2 will be the measuring stick, Daniel Andrews. And I just look at one, I think the tipping point for me, and it's like one of the tipping points for me, is what you did to the people in your electorate, the City of Monash, that in this there, the Monash City Council, the people in your electorate rejected wanting to have gay drag queens play with the children. They objected against it. So you told them, and used an explicit word, they could all go and blip off to Florida in America with all those other haters that you call them. But it's like, pick up the mirror, Daniel Andrews, and have a look at it. And then, just to spite the people, what do, Daniel Andrews? You turn around and you bring them into the political arena. You bring them into the state parliament of Victoria. You bring them in as a like, almost like sticking your finger in God's face, sticking your finger in the face of all those people in the electorate that spoke against him. They're just so arrogant. Your arrogance just absolutely amazes me, that you think you're invincible. But Daniel Andrews, I can tell you, you're not invincible. You have to get before your creator just like the rest of us one day. And as you judge, so shall you be judged. And with the same measure that you judge, it'll be judged back to you. That's a harsh thing. And that applies to me. That applies to every one of us on earth. But you're representing the people. And Daniel Andrews, the thing that upsets me, or there's many things that you do that are just so atrocious in the eyes of God himself. And you can poo-hoo him and all whatever, but one day you're going to find out who he really is. It's a bit like, it's as stupid as saying gravity doesn't work and then jumping out of a plane at 5,000 feet and find out that gravity does work, it does exist. Well, that's the same with God himself. Now, God himself is a God of love, and he's a father, he's a heavenly father. So do you think that he's sitting in heaven just going, oh, golly gosh, golly gosh, look what Daniel Andrews is doing to the people of Victoria? And the ones that Jesus said were the most important is to the children. And you just picked on the children. And it's like the last straw. So not only have you picked on the children and you're grooming the children with this drag queen nonsense that is there, which is adult entertainment. Not that I condone it, but it's like, if adults want to indulge in that thing, so be it. It's their choice, because we all have choices, but not to inflict it on innocent young children. You're grooming them for pedophilia. You're grooming them for the kingdom of darkness. It's just amazing. It just gobsmacks me. And Daniel Andrews, you're the one that legislated pregnancy, late term pregnancy, when you were the medical officer here. You're the one that groomed it. I found out just recently that the heartbeat of a baby in the womb starts at what I understand is 15 days. You're allowing late term abortion. And not only are you allowing late term abortion, if the baby is born alive, you've legislated that the doctors and nurses who have a mandate to protect life, you've legislated that they allow the baby to just lay on the bench and slowly die. Now, some people are saying, well, at least they have some medication. But how barbaric is this anyway? Just think about it, Daniel Andrews. Like, go and get your own child and put a gun to their head and pull it. Like, it's the same thing as what you're legislating. I'm not commanding that to do, and I'm not a person of violence, but I'm just trying to use that as an example. You are killing babies in this state. We have had 3 million babies aborted in this state, and a lot of that blood is on your hands, Premier Andrews. You are the one that legislated that. And Daniel Andrews, I just have a feeling that this verse is Matthew 7:1-2. Let it be on your head. As you judge, so shall you be judged. And when the manner that you treat it with others, it'll be treated back to you. That applies to me. That applies to me with what I'm just saying here. I'm not judging you. God himself is the one that makes that decision. I'm just waving the flag at what you are doing. You're just waving it in God's face to the sheer barbaric attitude, the sheer arrogance that you have is just gobsmacked. As I said, the very people in Monash City Council, hundreds of people protested against it, and you defiantly went against them and you brought them into the state parliament. That's a travesty. And you just mock it, you just laugh it off, just like all of the 22 other things that I've got on this list of what you have done. The hotel quarantine, you're just a law against yourself, but God himself was going to bring judgment. There's just no way that you're going to escape it. And it's like he desires all men to be saved. If you have any chance, turn. But I just can't imagine it. You're just so arrogant yourself. It's just beyond comprehension how arrogant you are. And you're bringing the judgment and the wrath of God upon yourself. Does he want that to happen? No, he doesn't. But does he want to see you continually defiling children? Does he want to see you continually allowing babies to be murdered in this state? Does he want to see you continually perverting and corrupting the whole system? Does he want to see you being aligned to Communist Party? Does he want to see you? He purposed you as the public servant, the one that serves the people. You're so arrogant. You won't even tell us why you went to China. You're so arrogant, you won't even tell us how much money you sent. And you're sending this state into bankruptcy. The very state, the very freedom of democracy that allowed you to be in government representing the people for good, not for evil, you're just defiling all of that. You want to destroy it. To me, it's just beyond comprehensive just how attached to the kingdom of darkness you are, just how debased your mind is, and how anybody could possibly vote and for the things that you represent, for me, is just beyond comprehension. But Premier Daniel Andrews, I think the last straw has just happened when you deliberately went against the people, that you deliberately and intentionally, even though the people did not want it, and voted against it, you deliberately put your finger in God's face, and not just the people, in God himself. You put the bird, you put your finger up his nose, so to speak, and say, well, up yours, I'm going to do this anyway. You are intentionally grooming children for pedophilia. You are intentionally destroying their moral values. They were never created to have that stuff. They not even should be seeing that stuff if they want to at all, until at least they're in their teens or adulthood. And you brought it into the parliament, the state parliament, the place where you're meant to honor the people and the wishes of the people. You went against it. God help you for your actions, because there's a train smash happening between you and your creator. Whether you agree or disagree, you cannot escape the inescapable pact of just as I and just as everyone on earth, Matthew 7:1 and 7:2. And it's very sobering. And this is it, Daniel Andrews. Like I'm saying it to you, do not judge others and you will be not judged. For you'll be treated as you treat others. And the standard you use in judging is the standard by which you'll be judged. That's a serious thing to ponder. God help you, Daniel Andrews. God help you, because you do not want to meet the wrath of God. You do not want to meet his wrath. And I don't mean he's a God of judgment. He's a God of love. He loves everybody. He loves you unconditionally. But he's not going to sit there idly while you destroy children. Jesus himself, and you probably poo-hoo him as well, Jesus himself, and it shows evidence that he was on earth, and he came here and he said, woe to those that pick on the kids. You might as well put a millstone around your neck and jump in a lake. It's that serious. And it's that serious what you're doing. It's unescapable. The judgment of God will come upon you and those associated with you if you don't turn back from the ways and what you're doing. God help you, Daniel Andrews. God help you.